Edmonton, Alberta, weighing 180 pounds. Here's the PWA original, Marky. And his opponent, also from Edmonton, Alberta, weighing 205, he is Richie Ray.
Still hit the girl, okay? Nice.
Our next match is in the ring. PWA Original Marky taking on Richie Rage. Joining me for this contest, and then we saw in action earlier tonight, one half of the PWA Canadian Tag Team Champions, Dirty Duke Durango. Earlier tonight, we saw you by hook or by crook get defeated, and now you got to put the tag team titles on the line next week at Night of Champions.
Well, you know, Boris, by hook or by crook doesn't really matter to Steele and I. You know, Team Hall of Fame. We're going to keep those titles next week at Night of Champions, and you know, those two little bags of vomit, they're going to realize that they upset the wrong guys. Now, we were talking before we went on air here about PWA Original Marky in the best shape of his life. I mean, he's looking ripped, he's looking really good, and I think he's ready to make a run for that PWA Championship. You know, I'll tell you, I've been working with Marky now for the better part of a decade, and he's looking in the best shape I've ever seen him. He's intense, he's focused, and you know, I got to tell you, he's going all the way to the top right now. I can see it in his eyes. And he's in the ring with a newcomer, one of the most powerful youngsters here in the PWA, Richie Rage. Moving away from the tag team ranks, moving into singles competition. Yeah, Ricky Rage, you know, or Richie Rage there, he's come a long way. You know, he started out as, you know, kind of worked his way through as a referee, and then thought he'd seen enough and made his way into the ring, and now he's holding his own, making a name for himself. Absolutely, as we see Marky roll through that arm wringer, taking an arm wringer of his own. Definitely a classic matchup of speed against power here. Yeah, you know, Mark's always been a really quick, really agile guy, and you know, generally knows how to handle the power of a stronger guy. He owns his craft. Here we saw Marky able to land on his feet in that hip toss, again showing that speed we just mentioned. Geez, I'll tell you, Rage must be a little bit put off. You know, he probably didn't expect Mark to be able to kind of not just out-quick him, but overpower him and throw him around a bit there. Absolutely, starting back from square one with the collar and elbow. Marky takes that side headlock. If you look too nice and snug, you know, no space in there, no loose gaps for the guy to work his way out. Oh, hard shoulder tackle just running right through Marky. He's going to take some time on the floor to think about it. Yeah, you know, I'm a little surprised by that. You know, Marky being the taller guy, you know, you'd think he'd have a little more leverage, but you know, that Rage, he's a thick character. He's got that low center of gravity kind of thing going on. Strong kid, strong kid. Very rarely do we see, especially lately here in the PWA, two men getting in the ring that have no real animosity. You just want to try to get a W. We're going to see some great competition here as Marky takes that headlock takeover. Well, you know, Boris, that's one of the reasons when I came back to wrestling, I chose to come back to the PWA. You know, it's got the stiffest, the most talented competition, stiffest competition, and, you know, the camaraderie in the locker room second to none. Here's two guys, like you say, no real animosity, but want to move their way up the ranks and willing to get in there and fight anybody to make a name and get those titles. Rage showing that power, tried to go for that backdrop, and Marky able to hang on and take him over. Some respect here shown by the crowd here at the Century Casino in Calgary. Well, Mark's showing that experience. You know, you might be able to lift me in the air, but that doesn't mean I'm going to let go of your head. Kind of ironic here, Marky slowing the pace down of this match, considering he's the one with the speed advantage. Well, I think, you know, with the experience, he's just trying to grind the stronger guy down, you know. Keep him off his feet, keep him off balance, and I think it's a pretty good game plan. Rage trying again to shove off that headlock, but Marky's got that vice-like grip. Well, that extra time in the gym, you know, squeezing that head like a watermelon.
Rage trying to rally the crowd behind him. He's going to try to get back to his feet one more time.
Well, it's even good to see the crowd behind Rage, being that, you know, Mark's been one of the top workers in this company for the past decade, and
absolutely.
It's nice to see the crowd get behind a young guy.
There's the power we spoke of earlier, up in that gorilla press position. Holding him up there for quite the extended period of time. Marky able to shift his weight, rolls over, the shoulders are down.
That's what Rage gets for being a little bit of a smart aleck, you know, wanted to showboat a bit and almost paid the heavy price.
A little bit of a hot dog. Shades of Patrick Waugh holding that glove up in the air, dropped the puck in his own net.
We don't talk about
Canadian
Patrick
fan. I
Waugh
thought I'd throw
way.
that in there.
Patrick Waugh did nothing bad. He's the best goalie of all time.
I'm more of a Mike Vernon guy myself, but be that as it may, we've got a match in the ring.
I'm not even going to justify that with a remark, Boris.
You're going to hit me later, aren't you?
No, sir. Mike Vernon was a good goalie in his own right.
Shoved off into the ropes. Big hip block takeover. Make it 2.
I'm really impressed with Rage here. He's, you know, he's really putting her all into here and giving Marky a true test. I got to say, I'm a little surprised.
Takes him down with the arm drag. Apparently, Marky complaining of some arm pain.
Well, that'll happen after a couple of arm drags and a stiff arm bar, you know.
I mean, if he does the commentary, what am I doing here?
Well, yeah, it's always easier to get a reaction from the fans when you tell them what just happened.
Marky able to get back to his feet. He's going to push him back into the corner. Are we going to see the clean break? Connie Fitzpatrick making the count. We see the clean break. Marky taking an opportunity to try to whip in the ropes. Reversed. Caught in the crossbody. There's the power we mentioned earlier. He's going to walk him around, maybe showboating a little too much like you mentioned. Up and over with the fallaway slam. Impressive.
Very impressive move from Rage there. You know, it's he's a thick guy, but such a short stature to be able to throw a guy even over the top ropes is impressive.
Only a 1 count. Going back to that armbar.
Jeez, to get the leverage, he's got to switch that armbar to the other side of his body and really pry on that thing. Just a little bit inexperience showing through there.
Great getting some veteran point of view here. I feel privileged to have you sitting in the chair. Usually Sheik Akbar Shabazz sits over there, so having you here is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
You know, it's funny you say that. I was wondering where the Sheik is. I assume somewhere out getting his petition signed, trying to get reinstated.
Well, from what I've been told, he refuses to show up at any more PWA live events until he's reinstated, which I'm all for.
I was just going to say, you know, that might be doing some of the folks here a favor. Maybe he shouldn't make that threat anymore.
Marky back to his feet, pushes Rage into the ropes. He's looking for that clean break again. This time we get it. Marky off the ropes, stucks the clothesline. Oh!
Nice power slam by Rage.
Velocity on that power slam, but only a 2 count, says PWA official Connie Fitzpatrick.
You know, Richie Rage, he seems a little shocked there that wasn't a 3 count. I don't think he's watched enough tape on Mark to know it's going to take a lot more than that to put this veteran down.
Maybe one of the most resilient men on our roster can take a licking and keep on ticking.
I'll tell you, I've had my battles with Mark, and that kid is not short on heart, he's not short on try, and he will fight with you all day long.
Up and over with the Bulldog. I'm sorry for interrupting you there. Again, only a 2 count. Marky looks like he's taking that side headlock again, slowing the pace down, maybe catching a breather for himself with all of his weight on the head and neck of his opponent.
Yeah, he's really prying on that neck. You know, the only way to apply more leverage would be to get his heels extended out and really look up to the sky and pry that neck back. I'd like to see that.
You shouldn't give away too many of your secrets here. You got a million of them though, don't you?
That are the difference between putting him in a headlock and maybe breaking his neck.
Rage just shoves him off. Mark able to land on his feet. Charges in, ducks the clothesline. Nice drop kick right off the ropes, exploding off the ropes. But again, just a 2 count. No man really able to hold an extended period of advantage in this match.
Oh, you know, really solid match back and forth. Pretty impressive. You know, I got to say again, I don't want to minimize, but I'm really impressed with the fight Rage is putting in here and the resilience he's showing. And I mean, Mark, well, always a consummate professional and going to get in there and give you everything every night.
I have to say, I admire your calmness considering what we saw go down earlier tonight with Derek Cross and the prostitutes.
You know, those prostitutes, that's a whole nother story, but I don't want to talk too much about those bags of dirt when we have a real good match going on here in front of us that we can focus on, you know.
Overhead belly-to-belly throw. Nicely done. Smart move by Rage, dragging him away from the ropes before he makes the counter. Maybe he needs to hook that leg to get a bit more of an advantage in that cover.
That's a keen eye, Boris. You know, you don't win world titles letting a guy kick his feet up like that.
Oh, jawbreaker, perfectly done. rings the bell of Richie Rage. Marky could be setting up for that vertical suplex. Trying to get the man up with that center of gravity we talked about earlier makes it a bit hard for him to take him over. And Rage with the power, holding him up there, making him think about it. Oh, nicely done.
Very strong. Good show of strength by Rage.
Here's a cover. 2.
But again, you know, another lazy pin. Sounds bad, but that's just not showing proper respect to your opponent.
I assume you'll be having a word with him after about that, perhaps?
I believe you will see a chalk talk in the locker room later.
I like that, chalk talk. That could be a new segment on PWWrestling.ca, Chalk Talk with Dirty Duke.
You know, I would always be open to sharing a little knowledge of the ages. You know, I had 1,500 matches at least, and I'll tell you, you learn a trick or two in there that, you know, could pass on to the young guys. Having said that, being around these young guys, I'm also learning a few tricks myself.
I'm concerned that we don't have the budget for a chalkboard, though. We may have to, like, use a magic marker on a piece of paper or something. Rage has him up in the power slam position. Marky able to shift his weight. Shoves Rage into the turnbuckle. Catches that neck breaker. Nicely done, but unable to capitalize and make the cover.
You know, that's when you hit those big moves, you got to do everything you can to finish the man off, because you just don't get opportunities like that all the time.
Not sure who's going to make it to their feet first. Both men look worse for wear. Gone through a bit of a war here.
Well, the ref should be counting them out here. She stopped the count for some reason. But
checking to make sure both men were okay, but she stopped doing the count, as you mentioned. Drop toe hold into that middle rope. And we all know, if you're a fan of the PWA, you all know what happens here.
Mark going to that top rope.
Ascending to that top turnbuckle.
This can't be good for Rage, that's all I can say.
And down with the leg drop that we've seen so many times.
That's gotta hurt Rage's neck. I mean, geez, he's gonna feel that tomorrow, to say the least.
A risky move for Marky as well. Look at, he's looking for referee Connie Fitzpatrick to administer that 10 count. He's down in the ring, taking a breather.
You know, that's one thing about Mark. He's high risk, high reward. He will do anything he can, put his body on the line, and do what it takes to get the victory, we've just seen. We've
seen him get burned a few times. We've also seen him pull out some of the more spectacular maneuvers here in the PWA.
I'll tell you, in all the time in this, Mark, he's one of the most resilient wrestlers I've ever seen, and I'm really impressed by Rage, giving him all he can handle here.
Referee up to 7. Rage makes it back to the ring apron. Marky going to try to bring him in the hard way. That vertical suplex. Rage able to shift his weight and go behind. Oh. Belly to back suplex with a bridge. Not able to capitalize, sorry.
Looked like Rage missed his bridge there. He almost pinned himself.
Now we're just seeing the slugfest
turn into the old slobber knocker, as you might say.
Marky ducks the right hand, crucifix into the sunset flip, but again, only a 2. Rage rolls through.
A couple of good quick pins here. The boys are really going after it.
Both men working hard. They both know what a victory here means. Going into next week, Night of Champions, biggest show of the year. Backslide, Marky up on his tiptoes, but again, unable to secure the 3 count.
This match looks like it might come down to who wants it more, Boris.
Oh, driven hard with velocity into the turnbuckle.
No one wants to lose going into Night of Champions. You want to go in with momentum, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Next week is going to be quite an event. Rage charges into the sole of the Adidas of Marky. Up onto the back, tries to roll through. There's the cover. 2, 3.
Wow.
I gotta say, I'm a little surprised Marky tried to go for that roll. Rage just dropped his weight straight down, able to keep the shoulders down for a 3 count.
That is a huge, huge upset in my opinion. Great win by Richie Rage. Can't say enough.
You know, Rage, over the last little while, a lot of guys in the back have been treating you with nothing but disrespect. I'll be man enough to admit that tonight was your night, and you beat me in this ring fair and square. You're one of the strongest guys I've ever been in the ring with, and I just want to shake your hand.